Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome to my another video class. So my dear students, I'd like to tell you about our today's class. And before going to start my class, so I had better talk about something regarding the educational activities of our school. So first of all, let me know how you are. I don't know whether you are fine or not, but I hope you are hale and hearty. But in this crucial time of coronavirus pandemic, no one is fine. Neither he is fine mentally, nor he is physically. So whatever, we are trying to be fine all the time, and we are just trying our level best to keep pace with the present situation of the world. So as now I'd like to talk about our school activities. So you have come to know our school has started online classes. As a part of this, I have already finished one more class. Now this is my second class, and the class now I am going to take is for the students of class 9 and 10, especially class 9. So at the very beginning of the year, I mean at the first week of January 2020, we have got our syllabus, and for that being the reason, we are able to cover as many topics as we could, and that's why I'd like to tell you a very wonderful thing is that we were able to cover as many grammar items at that time, and so far I know I have completed changing sentence as well. So today I'm going to discuss a very important topic, and I decided to discuss about this, and then for that being the reason, today I took a very important topic. So I think you can see what I wrote down on the whiteboard: phrases and clauses. So today's class is about phrases and clauses. First of all, let me talk about phrases and clauses, and let me know what phrases are and what clauses are. Phrase. So first you can see a sentence: with the help of internet, we are being able to enjoy online classes. With the help of internet is a phrase, and we are being able to enjoy online classes is a clause. So phrase is a group of words. Phrase just works as a part of speech. It doesn't have a complete meaning. It doesn't also have a finite verb. Phrase just works as a part of speech. But clause, look at the clause. Clause has a complete meaning. It has a finite verb here. It has a subject too. So we are being able to enjoy online classes is a complete sentence, is a clause. And now I'm going to the second example: by reading books we can earn knowledge. Here, by reading books is a phrase, we can earn knowledge is a clause. So in the clause you will find subject and finite verb, but in the phrase you will never find a finite verb or any subject. And the third one, there is no phrase here. If you read English newspaper, you will be able to improve your English skill. There are two clauses here: subordinate clause and principal clause. So I think you will be able to understand what phrases are and what clauses are, and try to understand, because they are very much necessary in our regular conversation. When we go to speak or we go to talk each other, that time we are using a lot of clauses, a lot of phrases. Without the help of phrases and clauses, we will not be able to speak, or will not be able to continue our conversations. Now I'd like to talk about phrases. So now I'm going to take a point about the phrases. Now let's talk about phrase. Earlier I gave you some description of phrases, and I gave you the definition of phrases too in English. Now I wrote down the definition of phrase in Bengali. So let me talk about this in Bengali. For better understanding, I had better speak in Bengali here. যে ওয়ার্ড সমষ্টি অর্থের একটি একক ও একটি পার্টস অফ স্পিচের ন্যায় কাজ করে, কিন্তু যাতে কোনো পূর্ণতা প্রকাশ পায় না, যেটা আমি আগেই বলছিলাম যে ফ্রেজ ডাজন্ট হ্যাভ এ কমপ্লিট মিনিং, বাট ইট হ্যাজ এ মিনিং, এটা কিন্তু একটা অর্থ আছে বাট কমপ্লিট মিনিং নাই, এবং কোনো ফাইনাইট ভার্ব থাকে না। আই অলসো সেড দিস যে নো ফাইনাইট ভার্ব ইজ ফাউন্ড ইন এ ফ্রেজ। তো কোনো ফাইনাইট ভার্ব থাকে না, তাকে ফ্রেজ বলে। And one more thing, phrase is classified according to the parts of speech. I mean name of the parts of speech. যখন যে নাউন যে parts of speech এর নাম অনুসারে কাজ করবে, তখন সেই নাম অনুযায়ী ফ্রেজ গঠিত হয়, ফ্রেজকে ভাগ করা হয়, শ্রেণী বিভাগ করা হয়। সো ফ্রেজ যখন যে parts of speech এর কাজ করে, সেই parts of speech এর নাম অনুসারে তার নামকরণ করা হয়। So there are 7 types of phrases here. Let me talk about the diagram I drew here. এখন আমি যে ডায়াগ্রামটা লিখছি সেটা সম্পর্কে বলছি। So my dear students, phrases are classified into 7 portions. There now I am going to tell you noun phrase. This is noun phrase. If you do not understand or if you do not notice the words written inside the box, please try to listen to my voice and try to just understand what I am saying. Noun phrase, adjective phrase, verbal phrase, the phrase according to verb, adverbial phrase, prepositional phrase, conjunctional phrase, and interjectional phrase. It's very simple to understand. Noun phrase, just it acts of noun. The phrase acts of noun is called a noun phrase. The phrase acts of adjective is called an adjective phrase. Verbal phrase, I mean the phrase acts of verb, that is called verbal phrase. The phrase acts of adverb is called adverbial phrase. The phrase acts of preposition, that is called prepositional phrase. The phrase acts of conjunction, that is called conjunctional phrase, and also interjectional phrase. So I have written down some examples of noun phrase, adjective phrase, some other, so on. So to swim is a good exercise. If you do not understand or do not see the words clearly, so I am telling and try to understand. To swim is a good exercise. Here to swim is a noun phrase. Swim is working as a subject and working of noun as a noun হিসাবে কাজ করছে, that's why to swim is a noun phrase. It is also an infinitive phrase. I saw a boy with black eyes. With black eyes is an adjective phrase. With black eyes, with brown eyes, these are the examples. She looks after her parents. Looks after, hankers after, care about. They are the examples of verbal phrase. Adverbial phrase, I read the book again and again, over and over, now and then. They are the examples of adverbial phrase. Prepositional phrase, he is at the point of death, by the side of, by means of. They are the example of prepositional phrase. Conjunctional phrase, he is not only an actor but also a director. Not only but also, as soon as early as possible. They are the examples of conjunctional phrase. And finally, interjectional phrase, oh my God, we lost it. For God's sake, we lost it. They are the example of prepositional phrase. So that's all about phrase. Now I'll go to talk about clauses. Okay, now I'm going to talk about clauses now. And so earlier I gave you a description about clauses, what clauses are. So clause has a complete meaning and it has a finite verb and subject as well. So now let's get started. So there are 3 kinds of clauses here: main clause, principal clause or independent clause, and subordinate clause and coordinate clause. So I have written down a sentence that is, clause is a part of complex and compound sentence. So let's discuss about independent clause. So look at the example here. I wrote down an example here. If you read English newspaper, you will be able to improve your English skill. Here there are 2 clauses here. if you read English newspaper, that is dependent clause. I mean, this is subordinate clause, and this is you will be able to improve your English skill. This is a principal clause. It doesn't depend on other clause. It has a freedom to express itself. So you will be able to improve your English skill. That is principal clause. The clause has a freedom, and it doesn't need any clause help to express itself. That is called independent clause. So far I know. And if you talk about subordinate clause is always dependent on principal clause. I mean, it doesn't express itself without the help of independent clause. That's why that is called subordinate clause, যেটা সহকারী clause বলা হয়, মানে principal clause কে সাহায্য করে। Then number 3, coordinate clause. Coordinate clause, it has two same clauses here, principal clause and principal clause. When any two clauses are included with the help of coordinating conjunction, that is called coordinate clause. I wrote down one sentence here. He came here and he helped me a lot. Here that is a principal clause, and here is a coordinating conjunction, and that he helped me a lot. This is another principal clause. So coordinate clause and coordinating clause. So I think you can understand. অর্থাৎ দুইটা সেম সেন্টেন্স, দুইটা একই ধরনের বাক্য যখন কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন দ্বারা যুক্ত হয় তখন তাকে কোঅর্ডিনেটিং কনজাংশন, অর্থাৎ কম্পাউন্ড সেন্টেন্সের উদাহরণগুলো বেশিরভাগ কোঅর্ডিনেট ক্লজ বলা হয় তাকে। So let's discuss now the diagram I drew out. ডায়াগ্রামটা আমরা একটু ডিসকাস করব। ডায়াগ্রাম আমি লিখলাম ক্লজ। So there are 3 clauses, main or principal clause or independent clause, that is 1, and number 2 subordinate clause, number 3 coordinate clause. So I have written an example. I have a car which is red. I have a car is a principal clause, which is red is subordinate clause. And if I talk about subordinate clause, there are three more kinds of subordinate clause. I mean, subordinate clause are classified into 3 more portions. That is noun clause, number 1, number 2 adjective or relative clause, and number 3 adverbial clause. So here are some examples of noun clause, adjective clause, and adverbial clause. Noun clause, I know what his name is. Suppose আমি যদি এখানে নাউন ক্লজ কিভাবে এটা আমি বুঝাবো, যেমন আমি জানি তার নাম কি। এখানে আমি কি জানি, প্রশ্ন আমি জানি কি, উত্তরে যদি আসি তার নাম কি সেটা, তার নাম কি জিনিসটা আমরা নাউনের পরিবর্তে হোয়াট হিজ নেম ইজ এখানে এক্স্যাক্টলি একটা শব্দকে নির্দেশ করছে। ফর দ্যাট বিং দ্য রিজন দ্যাট ইজ কল্ড নাউন ক্লজ। অ্যান্ড অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ক্লজ, যেখানে অ্যাডজেক্টিভ অর্থাৎ এখানে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি আই নো দ্য প্লেস হোয়ার হি লিভস। এখানে দ্য প্লেস হোয়ার, এখানে একটা প্রনোমিনাল অ্যাডজেক্টিভ হিসাবে কাজ করছে দ্য প্লেস হোয়ার। সেজন্য ক্লজটা আমরা শুরু করব আই নো দ্য প্লেস হোয়ার হি লিভস। দ্য প্লেস হোয়ার হি লিভস এটা হচ্ছে অ্যাডজেক্টিভ ক্লজ বা রিলেটিভ ক্লজ। দেন অ্যাডভার্বিয়াল ক্লজ, আই হ্যাভ রিটেন অ্যান এক্সাম্পল হেয়ার। আই নো হোয়ার হি লিভস, আমি জানি সে কোথায় বসবাস করে। এখানে কোথায়, হোয়ার হি লিভস, ভার্ব অ্যান্ড হোয়ার, এখানে অ্যাডভার্ব অফ প্লেস বলা হচ্ছে। অ্যাডভার্ব অফ প্লেসের ইউজ রয়েছে যার কারণে এটাকে অ্যাডভার্বিয়াল ক্লজ বলা হচ্ছে। অ্যান্ড ফাইনালি কোঅর্ডিনেট ক্লজ, আমি আগে উদাহরণ দিয়েছি আই কেম অ্যান্ড স এভরিথিং। So far I know, I don't know whether you will understand it or not, but you will try your level best. And আমি জানি যদি তোমরা কোনো প্রবলেম ফেস করো, বক্সের লেখাগুলো বোঝা না যায়, তাহলে আমার কথাগুলো তোমরা একটু বোঝার জন্য ট্রাই করবে, ওখান থেকে লেখার জন্য চেষ্টা করবে। আর ইফ ইউ হ্যাভ এনি কোয়েশ্চেন, go for your comment in the comment section. Do comment and let me know what you have and what your question is. So that's all.